Today is Friday, July 17th, 2015. And I just want to talk to you about Bernie Sanders. Some of you may know who Bernie Sanders is, and some of you may not. So for those of you who know who Bernie Sanders is, you know why we should vote for him. And for those of you who don't, I will tell you a little bit about him. Bernie Sanders is currently the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, and he's running against Hillary Clinton, who is a front-runner in the current election. Just let me tell you about Hillary Clinton before I get into Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton cannot be trusted at all. She is the biggest flip-flopper there is. Back in the 1960s, Hillary Clinton was a Republican who worked for the Barry Goldwater campaign. Barry Goldwater is a Republican presidential candidate who was against the Civil Rights Act of 1964. She was on the right side of the spectrum. She was a left-right winger to the extreme. Bernie Sanders was on the opposite side of the spectrum. He was as far left as you can go. He was a civil rights activist. He was a friend of Dr. Martin Luther King. He got arrested for organizing protests in Chicago back when he was a civil rights activist. He was calling for desegregation of Chicago schools. He was calling for blacks and whites to be treated equally. Hillary Clinton was saying the opposite, that we should stay with the Jim Crow laws. She was a Republican. She was a conservative. If she was in the 50s, she would have been a Democrat. 60s and 70s, she would have been a Republican. Today, Hillary Clinton would have been a Republican. And when I went on theissues.org, yeah, Hillary Clinton has a mixed civil rights history. Mixed. Somewhere in the 50s. She gets almost failing grade. Bernie Sanders, he gets A level. He actually, I think, has, I don't know, he has a very high score. I would say on par with Obama, maybe even a little higher. And the thing is, everyone is saying, oh, Bernie Sanders. And the thing is, most minorities are actually voting for Hillary Clinton. What a sham Hillary Clinton's election is. The thing is, the right people are voting for the wrong candidate. It's simply said that way. The people who should be voting for Bernie Sanders are voting for Hillary Clinton instead. But yeah, the minorities. Hillary Clinton, according to a CNN news report, has 78% of the minority votes, while Bernie Sanders has only 3%. It should be the other way around. It should be Hillary Clinton with 3%, Bernie Sanders at 78%. What the hell's going on? If Bernie Sanders speaks as passionately as he does on national TV when they have the debates, oh my gosh, he's going to attract so much votes, minority votes, it's not even going to be funny. He should talk about what he did in the 60s. They should be asking questions like, what did you do during the 60s, Bernie? And they'll be like, oh, I was part of the civil rights movement. I'm a personal friend of Dr. King. He's going to attract so much black votes. Hillary Clinton will be left in the dust, and he will win the nomination, perhaps even the presidency. And not only that, he will actually help this country change. This country is in dire need of repair. And no, not from the right-wingers. We need more help from the left. And the thing is, I'm pro-gun. Bernie Sanders is pro-gun. I'm going to tell you why. With this rash amount of police brutality, people should be arming themselves. I'm not saying people should go around shooting cops. Hell no! And a matter of fact, most of the cops out there, I say 99% of the cops out there are good people. Are great people. Yeah, the 1% of the cops who are assholes, who are actually bad people. 1% of the cops are psychopaths, essentially. And they like shooting people. You know what a psychopath is? A psychopath is a person who has no remorse after killing somebody. It's a problem with the brain. And some of those cops are out there. They need to do, I think what needs to happen with the police department is more thorough background checks. Like, much more thorough. And I believe if cops are treated better, like given more thorough background checks, you would have no more police brutality. In Europe, look, there's almost no police brutality at all. Why? Because of very good mental health coverage, free healthcare, free education. If everyone's educated, you have less violence. The only reason the minorities have more violence, it's not because they're of their race, their color, or any of that other stuff. It's because of the lack of education. They live in a neighborhood where where the schools are not so great, the colleges are not so great, and they don't have access to free education. And the thing is, some of the kids unfortunately drop out of school to help the parents because the parents are struggling. And if you have free healthcare, free education, free public assistance, that shit wouldn't happen. We need Bernie Sanders. We need him bad. I am a passionate liberal. And the thing is, I'm not one of these hipster liberals who are saying, oh, the trendies who are going after everything that's popular. No. As a matter of fact, I'm a true liberal who believes in people's freedoms, who believes that we need change in this country. And the thing is, I watch the Alex Jones show. I'm as far left as you can get, and I agree with Alex Jones on guns. I do. I agree with Alex Jones on the getting rid of GMOs, getting rid of all these chemicals. I'm 100% for banning BPA, banning all these other chemicals, fluoride from the water. And the thing is, the government should only be helping people. That's it. The government's only job is to protect, not to enforce, like, watch us, what we do. No. That's the job of the police, not the federal government. And the thing is, Bernie Sanders voted against the Patriot Act repeatedly. Voted against the Iraq War. Voted against the Afghanistan War. He's a pacifist. We need him. We need more people like Bernie Sanders. And even Alex Jones, even though he's a libertarian, he's actually a great guy. Because some of the things he stands for are amazing. Like Bernie Sanders and Alex Jones, though they don't get along, they wouldn't get along, they agree on some things, like TPP, North American Free Trade Agreement. The United States should actually, like, I'm against free trade. Like, this whole free trade thing is BS. Why? We're shipping our jobs overseas. But the thing is, and these companies, what they're doing is they're saying, oh, let's ship our, riches overseas. You don't have to pay federal taxes. You're robbing the peoples of hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars. These evil CEOs should be brought to justice and I don't even want to talk about it. I'm getting so pissed off. And about the whole spying thing, the CIA should be dubbed as a criminal, or whoever's spying on it, spying should be illegal. Spying is illegal now. And I'm so happy the Patriot or the Freedom Act were not passed anymore. So happy. But I'm upset that TPP was passed. I'm upset that, NAFTA got passed in the 90s. And I'm very concerned about the environment. Not so much global warming, more ocean acidification. It's more the physical damage I'm concerned about, like the destruction of the rainforest, the dislocation of species. Thing is, I work for Greenpeace. I work there, and I love that working there because we stand up for what's right. Unfortunately, I'm a canvasser, and what I do is I go out in the street and I canvass. I ask people, if they know Greenpeace. Majority of the people don't even care about the environment. Like, they don't know what Greenpeace is, and when I tell them what it is, they still don't care. Because people care more about themselves than they care about our planet. These people need to have what's going on drilled into their heads. What we really care about is getting the truth out. And they care about is, oh, I'm going to be late to work. Like, who cares? It's work. It can wait. You can explain to your boss that you're saving the planet. I mean, Bernie Sanders is an amazing guy. And the thing is, I'm sad that he's not, doing so great. And the thing is, Ron Paul has some great ideas. I mean, I'm kind of iffy on the immigration thing, but still. I'm very, pro-immigration, but the thing is, the whole immigration thing needs to be more controlled in a way that, like, the people who you let in are not, drug addicts, or not like drug smugglers, essentially. How? We need to have more checkpoints in the borders. Yeah, I would let in, undocumented people, but I would check them for drugs, check them for like maybe if they have a criminal history from Mexico. If they don't have any criminal history, just let them in. But the thing is, then they make them immediately naturalize their citizenship and have them pay taxes to America. And guess what? They're now legal citizens who are paying to America, paying taxes to America. And guess what? And people's insurance premiums are going down. You don't deport people. That's wrong. You know what's going down there in Mexico? A lot of them are trying to escape all that violence. I'm a very passionate person, very passionate about the environment. I'm actually sweating right now talking about this. Look, I'm actually sweating. And if, AC is on right now because I'm so cold right now. I mean, hot in here right now. Just turn on the AC. I'm so passionate about the environment that when I turn off the AC, I actually unplug it. Like, everything's unplugged in the house. Only thing I got plugged in is my alarm clock. Yeah. See the phone charger? I'm not using it. I unplug it. I unplug everything that's not used in the house. People get upset about it, trying to control my electric bill. I got those compact fluorescents. Really, I don't like them because they have mercury. I'm trying to buy LEDs, but they're too darn expensive right now. But at least they'll last 20 years, so in the long run, it'll definitely save me money. But about the whole, the environment thing, we need to get more on board. And the thing is, another problem with these fossil fuel plants isn't really just the environment, it's people's health, actually. Every year, 3.5 million people die because of coal-related fire plants. Yeah, 3.5 million. Combined car exhaust, fossil fuel plants. 3.5 million die. How many people have died from nuclear? I mean, not a lot, but still. Nuclear has a huge chance of, having a meltdown, having huge explosions. Nuclear sounds like a better choice. It is better than fossil fuels, but it's not the best. The ultimate goal is to have America going 100% renewable energy. Wind, solar, hydro, and geo. That's what our ultimate goal is. And guess what's going to help us get it there? Graphene. Do you know what graphene is? I know I'm going from Bernie Sanders to here to there. I'm just saying how it can change this country. Graphene is a super capacitor, essentially. Essentially can charge and discharge in seconds. So it can charge your phone in seconds. So it will discharge itself in seconds and give all the energy to the phone very quickly. Of course, we'll have to change our infrastructure a little bit. But you won't have to make big, huge lead-ass batteries out that are chemical-based. These batteries hold 90% of their charges after 90, 100, 1,000 charges and discharges. Those batteries could last years, decades even, before they need to be replaced. And guess what? It's carbon-based. So guess what? You could put it in the ground and it decays. Fertilizers. You could use it as a fertilizer. And the thing is, graphene is such a good capacitor in electricity that we won't have the problem of storing energy anymore. We could power our whole country 100% solar, wind, geo. I can't even begin to imagine how good our country could be. No more air pollution, no more. And the best thing is, you could use algae to make oil, to make crude oil. Essentially, all crude oil is compressed algae over millions of years. You can do the same process in a few minutes and make your own crude oil using algae. We can build a huge algae farm and produce our own crude oil every year. We never have to drill for oil again. Never have to spill oil again. And we have the infrastructure to do this, but energy companies are too damn lazy to do this. They're too freaking selfish. You got these big CEOs are saying, oh, I care too much about my company. And the company that's doing this right now is Shell. Do you know what Shell is doing? Just listen. Shell is taking advantage of melting Arctic ice and going and drilling in the Arctic, taking advantage of the thin ice. It's not just Shell. It's Gazprom. It's Shell. It's I want to say Exxon. But they're going to follow Shell's example. And this is making me so mad. Do you know what would happen if there's an oil spill in the Arctic? Thousands of animals would die. Many species could either lose their homes or go extinct. Do you want another Gulf of Mexico or Nigeria? Look at Nigeria with their oil spills. Look at their delta. What Shell is doing there. It is just so atrocious. They are burning, gas flaring in Nigeria. They are not giving anything to Nigeria. Oh my, I don't even talk about Shell right now. I am beyond pissed with Shell. Shell, I'm not getting a little emotional because what Shell is doing is atrocious. And they're going to do this to the Arctic. What they did in Nigeria, they're going to do in the Arctic. ExxonMobil already spilled in Alaska. Remember the Valdez spill? Well, imagine an oil well that leaks in Antarctica. And people are like, oh, who cares? Because it's too expensive to go down. It's going to leak and leak and leak and just ruin the whole Arctic area. And oil is black. What would happen? It would absorb even more heat. Shell is essentially trying to kill the planet. That's what Shell is trying to do. We need to, just like the South Pole is a sanctuary, we need to make the North Pole a sanctuary. Do you know how much oil is in the North Pole? 85 billion barrels. That sounds like a lot. How much oil that's going to give for the planet? 3 years. 3 years of oil. Wow. 3 years. So you're basically going to F up the Arctic over 3 years of oil? Huh. Where you could have energy for the rest of eternity, free from nature, from God. And you're going to essentially ruin the Arctic for 3 years of oil. Is that what mankind has come to? Is that? You know, you could desalinate seawater using graphene and send it to the Sahara Desert. You could turn the whole Sahara Desert into a tropical rainforest, in 100 years or so. We'll have enough food to feed 20, 30 billion people. And the United Nations depopulation thing, that's also out of whack. We don't need to depopulate. What we need to do is grow food more efficiently. Skyscraper foods. I'm against the depopulation. I'm actually against it. Personally, I'm against depopulation. That's just my stance. But because we could have 30 billion people living in harmony. I mean, look. I mean, we slaughter 1 billion cows every year, and one cow consumes as much food as like 8 billion people. So essentially, it's like having 16 billion humans on Earth. We can do it fine. And guess what? The best way is to go vegan. We know, like in 30 years, 40 years, we could probably grow meats in laboratories without killing animals. And guess what that means? It means we won't have to kill cows. We have another room for another 8 billion people. Yeah. We don't have space issues. Build vertically is the answer. Look. I'm against depopulation. I'm against, murder. I'm completely against the death penalty, 100%. I'm essentially a very liberal person. I believe in God, though. I mean, God wants mankind to expand. God doesn't want mankind to destroy the planet that He built for us. Essentially, that's what we're doing. We're taking, Hashem's land and we're destroying it. I'm Jewish, so yeah, saying Hashem. But we're destroying the planet that whether He created it or not, doesn't really matter, but we're destroying something that was pristine just a few hundred years ago. We're ruining it. We almost destroyed the ozone layer. That we could have killed if we didn't stop. Say the corporation decided to keep on pumping us carbon fluorocarbons. We would have all been dying of skin cancer in probably 20 years. So if it's possible to destroy the ozone layer, it's possible to change the climate. I mean, carbon dioxide is rising at an exponential rate. Yes, Antarctica ice is growing. That's because of a cycle. Thing is, right now the Pacific Ocean is in its warm cycle. And even when the Pacific Ocean goes into its cold cycle, which was about just 10 years ago, this cold cycle was the warmest one ever. The 70s cold cycle, the cycle goes like this. But the cycles are going like this now. Let's see. Up, down, like up, down. It's going like this. And there's proof of that. Do you know what the climate change deniers are doing? They're using the step ladder. Saying, look, see, it goes up, then it goes down, then it goes up. But if you zoom out, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, the only way climate change will reverse itself is if the sun completely goes blank with sunspots for 20 years. And there's a possibility of that, but that would probably stop climate change for maybe 10 or 20 years. But eventually, all that carbon dioxide just sitting there, it's going to explode the temperatures up. Look, already, we've lost about a third of our species because of man. We're entering our, I think, 6th mass extinction, and for the first time ever, it's actually our fault. It's not nature's fault. Well, you could say mankind is nature in a way, but, because we are natural, but still, it's caused not by a volcano, not by an asteroid, not by a disease, but by a single species. This is so sad, I mean. Bernie Sanders could do so much good for this planet. Not just Bernie Sanders, all, like non-trendy liberals could do so much good for this planet. Like true liberals, not the trendies. And I understand why Alex Jones get mad at the trendy liberals. Good things, going after... Like 50 years ago, these same trendy liberals would say, hanging people is cool. I mean, come on. You gotta follow your heart, not what you see in here. Saying, oh, I'm gonna wear this fancy clothes. No, look. See? I'm not wearing anything fancy. I'm wearing... This is what I always wear. Wear black pants and... I don't care what society tells me. Gives a crap what society says. Like, wears. Everyone should pick and choose their own style. Not go for what popular saying, oh, look at my Gucci belt. Like, really? I don't care. Gucci, oh, this. I hope one day, the world will wake up to its senses. It's probably not going to be now. It's probably not going to be in 50 years. Maybe in 100 years, the world will be a better place. But it's going to take time. The world, overall, it's getting better. Quality of life is improving. What we considered as poor, what we considered poor 100 years ago, doesn't exist now in the United States. Even some African countries, the wealth is spreading there, like to the people. Like medicines reaching people in Africa. I'm not talking about vaccines. I'm talking about like medicines, like antibiotics. Personally, I'm not for or against vaccines. I think it should be optional. But if people are getting vaccines against their will, that's unacceptable. It should be choice. On the abortion issue, I am kind of a little bit on the right side of the spectrum. I am pro-choice, but there are some... I would only support abortion in case of rape, incest, definitely in the case of rape, obviously. Like, say the mother, or in socioeconomic stances. I mean, if you found out you're pregnant, like in the first 2-3 weeks, okay. But after that, I would say, just have the baby. I wouldn't be against it, but it's wrong, essentially. But if you're raped, no problem. If you say for example, you find out your kid is gonna have autism or have a disability of some sort, like maybe you find out he might have Down syndrome. And if you're gonna abort your baby because your doctor recommended it, you are the worst fucking mother in the world. Like, I'm gonna tell you that. If you're gonna abort your baby just because your baby isn't gonna be perfect, that mother is a fucking asshole if she's gonna do that. But if the mother's aborting the baby because the baby got the mother got raped, no problem. The mother's aborting the baby because she knows the baby might not survive. Okay. But in that one case, like, because I have Asperger's, and to deny another person the right to live because of my a condition, somebody with my condition, I'm not. You know, if everyone aborted their child because they found out, we're not gonna, because my child might be autistic, we won't have people like Bill Gates, because autism is genetic, unfortunately. But the thing is, if autism is caught early, you're gonna have a very bright and gifted child. So essentially, when you hear your kid might have autism, is essentially saying your son could be gifted and talented beyond your wildest dreams, and you should, just take your son to intervention classes. If you find out your child might be autistic, say you catch it in 1 month, your child will probably end up like me, or probably like Bill Gates, or Albert Einstein. I mean, do I support the death penalty? Again, no. Even if somebody raped a child, that guy has something wrong in his brain, and to prevent somebody from committing rape, murder, child pornography, or some other crap like that, they need mental help before they do so. And this is something this country is lacking, is mental health. So your child or a person could be a ticking time bomb. They might be not showing of any signs of mental problems, and then bam, they go kill somebody or shoot up a school. And why Norway? This is so, like, you never heard of this happening in Sweden, Finland? It's rare. It's unheard of. What happened in Norway was a freak incident. It's like a 1 in a million. Billion even. Mental health is very needed. Maybe this guy fell through the cracks in Norway. And Adam Lanza, he had Asperger's like I did. But guess what? There were other things in play. Maybe the images. It's definitely because of violent video games. I'll tell you that. It is. And yeah, he definitely fell through the cracks. Big time. He fell through the cracks. And what about the other guy who shot up 9 people in South Carolina? Mental health fell through the cracks. And the whole change in the Confederate flag because of this guy, it's stupid. The Confederate flag used to represent racism. Today represents, just rebellion. Essentially, getting rid of the Confederate flag is saying that I'm not a racist. I'm a far left guy. But why do I'm not against or for the Confederate flag, but banning a flag because it used to represent something is like saying you can't fly the USSR flag because it represented something bad. It's like saying you can't fly the Nazi flag or show it at all because it used to represent something bad. I mean, yeah, the Nazi flag is very sensitive to me because I'm Jewish. But look, for historical purposes, it shouldn't be banned. Look, the Confederates, were pro-slavery. But the thing is, it's true, the blacks also own slaves. It's a fact. But the thing is, slavery is wrong. Period. No matter who owned slaves, slavery is wrong, period. The Jews were enslaved for hundreds of years. The Africans, the blacks were enslaved for hundreds of years as well. So yeah, get the idea. But the thing is, we still show movies of ancient Egypt. And the thing is, they enslaved my race. But to ban the Confederate flag and not ban Egyptian movies, ancient Egyptian movies, it's hypocritical. It's being a hypocrite. So not letting somebody fly the Confederate flag and not banning Egyptian movies, hypocrites. Exactly. I may be a liberal, but I would fight for people's rights, for their basic rights. Oh, and I'm not a communist. Hell no. Banning property is not my business. No. I'm a democratic socialist who believes in people's individual rights. So essentially, I believe in what this country was founded on. People's the right to, everything the Constitution stood for is what I believe in. But I am pro-immigration, so I believe in all that freedom stuff. So this is my pro-liberal rant. Alex Jones had an anti-liberal rant. I have a pro-liberal rant, but I agree with some Alex Jones stuff. I don't hate him. Matter of fact, I actually respect him. I watch some of his shows. I'm actually his subscriber because I watch some of his stuff. I mean, yeah, sometimes he goes a little, over the top with the conspiracy theories, but it makes you think what he talks about. 9/11 was very, suspicious. It did. The same day they were holding a hijacking drill. Plane flying World Trade Center, some of them had, no markings. That was suspicious. So, if Alex Jones said that 9/11 was an inside job, I would agree with him. I do agree with him, actually, on 9/11. But I'm going to have to end it here. Thank you for watching. And if I said some things when I go crazy, I may say some inappropriate stuff. I probably didn't, but just in case I did, I'm extremely sorry. If I did say anything that may have offended anyone, extremely sorry. And I'm still posting this video because, I'm a guy who likes expressing their rights. But about the Confederate flag thing, I think the state government should take down their flag, the Confederate flag. Yes. But people should still have a right to personally fly their own flag. That's my opinion. And the South definitely needs some reform on human rights. I'm going to continue. I'm not ending it here. I'm sorry. Because the South, some even Midwestern states are horrible because, the governments are horrible because they jail kids. You have the 3-strike system. Imagine you're a kid, for example.